Unemployment in America expected to hit early pandemic levels, and tariff money to buy Bitcoin? Today, I read an interesting article on CNBC.com written by Jeff Cox titled, Unemployment Fears Hit Worst Levels Since COVID as Tariffs Fuel Inflation Outlook, Fed Survey Shows. The author of this article referenced the Survey of Consumer Expectations, which showed that respondents saw inflation a year from now at 3.6%. They were also concerned about the labor market. The probability that the unemployment rate would be higher a year from now surged to 44%, a move up of 4.6 percentage points and the highest level going back to the early COVID pandemic days of April 2020. Here are my thoughts. This is just a survey, so who knows if any of this will come to fruition. With that said, this is still interesting. Let's hope unemployment doesn't go back to the level of early COVID pandemic days. I hate to think about the implications of that happening. Some families depend on two good incomes to pay all of their bills. When someone loses a job and there is only one income, unemployment benefits may not cut it. Unfortunately, many Americans do not have an emergency fund to rely on. For some, their credit card is what they rely on when there is an emergency. From my perspective, this is very dangerous. Credit markets are starting to dry up. I wouldn't be surprised to read about credit card companies lowering credit limits at some point. I'm afraid some people are not prepared for this to happen. I'm curious, what do you think about all this? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. I read another interesting article today. This one was on CNBC.com, written by Kevin Brueninger, titled, Trump Looking into Legality of Deporting U.S. Citizens to Foreign Prisons, White House Says. According to the author, President Donald Trump is exploring whether the law allows him to deport U.S. citizens to prisons in Central American countries. He would like to send homegrown criminals to a notorious prison in El Salvador where the U.S. has already deported some non-citizens. Here are my thoughts. I found this to be very interesting. I have to wonder if the law would allow for this. If it happened, I'm sure some criminals might straighten up their act to avoid being sent to a prison in another country. Who knows what the living conditions might be like in some of these other countries. I have to wonder if they have the ability to send emails and call loved ones in prison there. I have to wonder if they have commissaries like prisoners here in America have, where they can buy all sorts of items. It will be very interesting to see if what Donald Trump is talking about actually happens. Now here is an interesting article. I read this on Yahoo Finance. It's put out by The Street and written by Anushka Basu, titled, Trump Administration Says Tariff Revenue Could Be Used to Buy Bitcoin. According to the author, Bo Hines, the executive director of the President's Council of Advisors on Digital Assets of the White House, stated the administration is pursuing incentive avenues to obtain more Bitcoin, including tariff revenue and revalued gold reserves. I was really surprised there were no comments beneath this article. I understand this guy Bo has a job to do, and it sounds like he is passionate about digital assets. With that said, I really hope they don't use tariff revenue to buy Bitcoin. I also hope they don't revalue the gold reserves. I'd much rather see tariff revenue go to the national debt versus going to Bitcoin. I still have an issue with Bitcoin being created by a shadowy figure. But what do I know? I'm just some guy on YouTube with a gong. This next article may be interesting to some of you. I read this on Yahoo Finance, put out by Fortune and written by Dave Smith, titled, You Have 85 Days, From Clothes to Electronics and Appliances. Here's what you should stock up on before Trump's global tariff pause ends. Well, it's actually 80 days from today. I found the information in this article to be very practical. The author did a nice job listing items to buy now. Appliances such as washing machines, dryers, refrigerators, vacuum cleaners, microwaves, coffee machines, blenders, and toasters were all listed. As I read this list, it made me a bit sad. There was a time when we made a lot of these items here in America. There was a Maytag repairman who lived down the street from my grandmother. He made his living repairing Maytag appliances that were made in the United States of America. The last Maytag factory that made appliances closed in Newton, Iowa on October 26, 2007. I found an old CBS News story that reported 550 workers once were employed at that century-old plant, which was over 2 million square feet in size. I'm sure many of those jobs supported families and a local economy. It is sad that so much of our manufacturing was gutted during the middle to late 20th century. In some cases, this was done for corporate profits. Getting back to the list, baby and kids items, including toys, board games, strollers, baby gear, children's furniture, activity sets, and clothing, are all items to stock up on now. There were other categories on the list, such as clothing, electronics, health and beauty, home decor, household items, jewelry and accessories, kitchenware and home goods, outdoor gear, over-the-counter medications, school supplies, and vehicles and auto parts. Well, my friends, that list pretty much covers most of what Americans need. How did we end up in this situation where we are so dependent on imports? To me, this should have been more of a national security issue years or even decades ago. I guess wealthy businesses have lobbyists, and politicians want to get reelected. To me, the system seems broken. Sometime you should watch old documentaries from the early 1900s when America had a thriving industrial economy. We were churning out what the world needed. The post-war economy was a glorious time for America. Those days are gone, and I really doubt these tariffs are going to bring back anywhere near the factory jobs that we once had in the mid-20th century here in America. Even if we did see those jobs come back, they would likely not pay as well, and there wouldn't be lifetime pensions. I was really shocked to see over 8,000 comments beneath this article. I'll share some of them with you. The first commenter said, "Unfortunately, prices for most of the items on this list are already increasing in anticipation of the tariffs. Price gouging soon will follow." The next commenter said, "In other words, everything. That is because we don't make much in this country anymore. We are a country of consumers, and our debt level reflects that." The last comment that I'll share with you came from someone who said, "How did we let this happen? We lost the ability to manufacture, and now we are held hostage to all of this because we pushed manufacturing offshore." Well, my friends, the commenters always have interesting things to say. What do you think about all this? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. If you would like to become a channel member, there is a link in the description beneath this video. You can read more about the different membership levels. Please also check out some of the great books I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.